I'm Natalie Poe. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Anderson Township. I grew up in a middle class home. I may not have never had to go without, but the love and support was a minimum due to my parents being involved with drugs and alcohol. When I was 6 years old, I was molested for the first time. I told my parents. My dad took me across the street because the guy was staying with us. And my mom woke him up off the couch and told him he better leave because he's like family. I was then, a few months later, got raped. When I finally had enough courage to tell my mom, she said it's because I didn't want to be in trouble and be grounded, and I didn't want to go without my phone. My mom has put her hands on me multiple times throughout the years, especially before I left home. And when I left home, I left my little brother there to be on his own with two parents being in the worst addiction of crack. I couldn't bring him with me because he was underage, but I still have regrets of leaving him there to deal with it on his own. Back when I was 13, my mom and dad let an 18-year-old man move in with me, and he was my first boyfriend. At 18, I married him. By the time I was 26, I had enough courage to leave him because he was very controlling, manipulative, and abusive. The only good thing out of that whole relationship I got was my son. After the divorce, I met this guy, and at this time, I was very naive, very gullible, and very trusting to everyone. This guy that I got with tricked me into doing heroin, and at this time, I didn't smoke, I didn't do any drugs whatsoever, I didn't even drink caffeine. I broke my ankle down in Clifton, and then I left my medicine out over the night. He sold it. When I woke up the next day, he said it got crushed. Someone stepped on it and taught me how to snort a AKA pill, which it wasn't. It was heroin. So I did that for about a month without realizing what I was doing. And then when I did, I tried to leave him. At this point, he grabbed bleach, started drinking it. And then he went outside, started trying to kill himself in front of me. Later on, I found out it was just the intention to make me stay with him. A month later, I ended up pregnant. So because I didn't want to make another child go through a separation of parents, I figured I'd try to work it out and stay with him. After I had my daughter, I got back onto heroin with my depression and everything. And I stayed on it off and on for the next 14 years. I finally left him after a year and a half because he was going around trying to prostitute me out, which I never did. He had me jump. He had me got raped, and he just didn't care. After that, I went back with my parents and detox off of it cold turkey. I was doing 3 Gs a day, and it took me a month and a half to feel normal again. And that's when I met my current dead husband at this time. He was a atheist, and at this point, I stopped believing in God. We would get clean, go back, get clean, go back, get clean, and go back. Right before he got locked up the last time, I was jumped by this guy, our neighbor, and it was just a awful night just because he was mad at my husband at this time. My husband got locked up October of 21 and stayed in jail till May of 22. He was shot twice, and then they found a gun in our apartment, and that's why he got locked up, because he was on parole. During this time, I was using till December because I was just depressed. I had no family. I didn't have a friend, and I was left in the ghetto, one of the worst parts of Cincinnati to survive on my own. So I did. But I got clean 12/12/22. Oh, I'm sorry, 12/12/22. My daughter's birthday. Well, 10 days before her birthday, because I woke up, I did a shot, and my whole hand swelled up bigger than a balloon. 3 of my fingers were turning black. Since I was on methadone trying to get clean at this time, they didn't give me any pain medications because I was red card. For 8 weeks, it was the most painful pain I have experienced in my life. So it got me clean. Which I know for a fact, if I didn't experience that, I probably wouldn't be here today. Because it scared me enough not to go back to that drug. On February 14th, I went into surgery because they saved 2 of my fingers, but not my ring finger. And they had to amputate a 4th of it because it was dead. So after that, the pain finally exceeded, and I was able to pull myself up, keep my apartment, and be able to live on my own that I haven't had to do since I was 13. So I know that since I didn't have anything in my life at that point, the only thing that got me through was the cats I had at this point for 11 years. Because it wasn't fair to them not to have food, water, or a clean place to live because of my drug addiction, because of my choice. So it got me up, it got me going, and I did it just so they wouldn't suffer. People may think that's dumb, but if that's what got me up and got me going and not suicide thoughts, then that's what it took. May, my deceased husband, got out of jail. That first 2 weeks was the best 2 weeks of my life. Until I caught him on dating websites. And from the end of May till August, all we did was fight. It got bad. Violence happened. I quit going to too many clients' houses because I had a cleaning company because of their abuse. And I went to work on August 14th. I got home about 6:30 that night. And, of course, I was just hardened. I was done. And we didn't have any food. So he did go out and steal some food and came back. We ate. And he's like, "Can I get on your phone to look at YouTube videos?" I'm like, "I don't care. I'm going to bed. Wake me up an hour." He's like, "Look, I really do care about you. I know in 2 days, because of him breaking out the windows in my apartment, we have nowhere to go. I just want to try to keep this relationship going." And honestly, I said to him was, "Cool. I hate you." Hour later, I woke up and found him dead with a needle in his arm. He was already dead for at least 32 minutes. By the time the paramedics got there, it took them 22 minutes to bring back his heart, which was very shallow. And that was August 14th at 11 o'clock at night. Wednesday, they said he had no brain activity. Of course, it's like I was in the biggest denial of my life. That Friday, which was the 18th of August, they said he had no blood flow. Saturday, the 19th, at 11:25 a.m., he was pronounced dead. He did save 8 different people because he was an organ donor. The summer didn't care. The guy that married us, the pastor that we did go to jail, he called me a couple weeks later and told me how I was doing. I was like, you know what? I hate God. There's no God. And now I'm living with my mother. You know how that goes, Shell. And you know the type of person she is. He said he knew that he wished I was on that path of hatred and darkness. And I said, you know what? At this time, I really don't care. So from August to December, I tried to commit suicide 5 different times. I either suck at it or God had me in his arms because it wasn't my time to go. And I would like to say it's the second thing. I tried overdosing on my medications, trying to electrocute myself in the bathtub. I tried to take a knife and slice up a main artery. And no matter what, I woke up either a couple hours later or a day later, and I was fine. Not mentally, but physically, and I didn't know how to take it. Well, in December, things got bad between me and my mother. I wasn't there all the time to cater to her. And because she was getting all my attention, she became evil like she has my whole life. So December went okay. She went to the hospital. I did everything for her. And then January, I want to say about the 12th-ish, 12th or 18th, around that week, she got upset. We had words, and she called me up, and the cops got called. I found out at this time that it's domestic violence to not only put your hands on someone, but to sit there and say verbal arguments is now domestic violence. So the cop told me to leave for a couple hours while things calm down. And there was nothing my mom could do. She couldn't just tell me to get out or anything unless they got PTO on me. So with the help of my brother and her, within 4 hours of me leaving, they got rid of my cats I had for 12 years. And then sent me a text and said, by the way, we got rid of your cats and you have a PTO. You're not allowed around me or mom. It's like, okay, what's this about? I called the sheriffs and they made a report and said it's a civil case for them getting rid of the cats. But let's go there just to see if they really did. And they did. She refused to open the door or anything. So I was trying to figure out a way to go to Indiana because I still had my vehicle. Well, 2 days later, that got repoed. And I had no choice but to go to a church called One Way. I did not want to go in the house of the Lord. I did not want to be around anybody religious because my head at this time, there's no God, and everyone is a religious hypocrite that thinks that they know everything that they can, but it doesn't make no sense because they have not experienced half of the stuff I have to even sit there and say there is a true God. We got there on a Thursday. By Sunday, I was baptized and beginning to see his light again. So all the times I have looked back, especially from August to January last year, I realized that he was always there. I may not have been able to see it, but he was there holding me and keeping me alive. which I thank God for that. Also, during that time, I was also raped a couple times by a couple drug dealers and stuff, and I didn't care. I deserved it, and it happened, and that's why I never reported it. So throughout my life, I've been raped and molested over 8 times by eight different people, and all the hatred and everything I had to endure, and this made me a very dark individual until I went to that church. During this time, I have had a stroke. My thyroid almost completely shut down. I had heart failure. I had to wear a heart monitor, epilepsy for seizures, liver failure, all kinds of different medical treatments. And then, for example, my thyroid, I went to the hospital that Friday, got transferred to 4 different hospitals so they can figure out why my thyroid was failing. I finally signed myself out that Sunday and went back to the hospital that Monday that was by me. And they said somehow I was healed, that my heart is working at regular capacity, that I haven't had a seizure in like 2 months. I haven't had a stroke or a heart attack since February, March. And they said with all the damage that I have went through, my body should be shutting down, and it's not. And it's because of God. I really believe that. And I may not know why I'm around. I don't know why I'm still here, but there's a reason. And I'm hoping that I can change somebody's point of view on things. Even if you've never been through the struggle of addiction or the struggle through religion or anything like that, I really hope that something will change. Because even a month ago, I'm not the same person that I was now, 6 months ago, a year ago, or anything. For example, last month, me and my fiance was in a tent, and we were on Channel 19 News. They let out the dams of East Fork, where the water was so high raised, and it raised our tent up like 20 feet in the air. At this point, it started moving, and the tent was enclosing, and we had maybe a foot of air left when they finally found us 45 minutes later. I just started praying to God, and in a way I was calm, but another way, I know that was the way the devil sat there and said, you're going to face it. You're going to die the way you fear you're going to die in water you can't see through and drowning. By the time they got there 45 minutes later, the rescuers, they said they got there 3 to 5 minutes later, we would be dead. Well, that's what, society thinks 3 to 5 minutes later, and the devil was trying to take us out. But honestly, God had us, or we wouldn't be here today. And I am so thankful for him and everything that he has done for us. Because there's no other explanation why we should be here. It took them even 20 minutes to even take us seriously about the situation we were in. And they couldn't get a regular boat back then. They had to use the paddle boat. The current was so high that, and a quarter of a mile, it took them even 40 minutes to get to us. So, there's a reason why we're still here and breathing. I'm still going through things. I have to live up to my past. I may still be homeless at this time, but in order to get my license back, I have to pay every month for it, every week, because of an accident that is on my record. And my past keeps trying to catch up with me, but I know that we will be okay. And I believe it's because of God, because of the church we go to, the people there, the family that I have now that I never had it ever. And, for example, we just got back from a weekend getaway, and I haven't really had my sister in my life throughout years since I've been with my first ex-husband, and now she's back in my life. And if it means just her, that's fine. But I know I'm working on forgiveness. I need to forgive my mom. I need to forgive my brother and his wife for hurting me the only way that they could, for getting rid of my animals. I have to forgive my rapists, my molesters. I have to forgive my ex-boyfriend for getting me in the drug world. I had to forgive a lot of people, because the only way that I can be forgiven through God is if I learn how to forgive others. And I'm doing that right now. So I don't know if anyone that knows me or anything, but I do forgive you, Mom. I forgive you, Charlie and Nicole. I forgive you, Jeremy and Red, and all these other people that did things to me that they shouldn't have done. It doesn't mean to be ignorant and invite the people back in my life, because then that's all me. But I can forgive them and I can love them from a distance. Because if not, the hate will consume you. In order to consume God, you have to let Him consume you. And if you're letting other negative things in your life impact on how you're living today, you won't be able to consume God, and He won't be able to consume you. And you have to learn to do things that is very difficult for you to do. It could be just a forgiveness. But you have to forgive yourself. And that may be the hardest thing to do. And I'm trying to do that. I also have to forgive, let go. Not only my past, but how dark I was through those months for my deceased husband. About the websites, for using behind my back, for me to forgive him, because addiction is a powerful thing, and I know deep in my heart he wasn't trying to hurt me by relapsing, because he just wanted to feel numb. And no matter how much differences we had with each other, he wouldn't want me to fight him that way. So it's easier for me to say it than completely understand it completely, because I'm not him. I have to forgive him. Let his soul rest in peace. But that's just a little bit about me. So I hope it helps somebody out there. Thank you.